There's a conversation every man over 60 should have already had, but most never do. Not in a clinic, not with friends, and not even in those quiet late night moments when worry starts to build. It's a direct, uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary conversation about one thing: prostate health. Because here's the reality: small daily habits don't just influence your comfort, they decide your quality of life. They decide whether your nights are peaceful sleep or repeated trips to the bathroom. They decide whether you move through life freely or constantly plan everything around urgency and discomfort. I'm Dr. Jocelyn. I'm a urologist with 9 years of clinical experience helping men protect and restore their prostate health. And in this conversation, I want to give you something practical, not theory. 5 simple, natural habits that any man can follow. Habits that can genuinely improve prostate health after 60. And I'll be honest with you up front, one of these habits surprises almost every patient I mention it to. Most men don't realize its impact until they actually apply it consistently. Before we begin, I want you to understand why this matters so much. If prostate health concerns you or someone you care about, this is a conversation worth paying attention to. And if you stay until the end, I'll also give you a simple step-by-step routine you can start tonight without confusion. Now let's clear up a major misunderstanding. Many men believe urinary changes after 60 are just normal aging. Slow stream, nighttime urination. That constant feeling of not fully emptying the bladder. But medically, that's not the full truth. Yes, the prostate does naturally change with age. It often enlarges in a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. By age 60, more than half of men show some signs of it. By age 70, that number rises to over 80%. But here's what most people don't realize. Enlargement does not automatically mean suffering. The symptoms you experience are heavily influenced by daily habits, things you actually control. Modern research shows that simple lifestyle choices can reduce symptoms, slow progression, and in many cases significantly improve daily comfort. That means waking up fewer times at night. It means better urine flow. It means regaining control over your routine again. Because aging itself is natural. But struggling every night, avoiding travel, and planning life around bathrooms, that is not an unavoidable fate. That is often the result of missed prevention. Over the past 9 years, I've seen many men who believed nothing could change their condition. Men who felt embarrassed, frustrated, even defeated. And yet many of them improved not through complex procedures, but through simple, consistent habits backed by science. That's why I want this to feel less like a lecture and more like a private, practical conversation. Just you and me understanding what actually works. So let's begin with the first habit. Habit number 1, strategic hydration. Drink smart, not just more. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you drank water before you felt thirsty? Most men don't think about timing. They skip water in the morning, drink very little during the day, and then suddenly consume large amounts in the evening. And then they wonder why they wake up 3, 4, sometimes even 5 times at night. Here's what's happening inside your body. As we age, the thirst signal becomes weaker. At the same time, the bladder and prostate tissues become more sensitive. When urine stays concentrated, meaning thicker and more acidic, it irritates the bladder lining. That irritation increases urgency. It worsens weak flow, and it triggers those frequent nighttime awakenings. So the problem is not just how much you drink, it's when you drink. This is where strategic hydration changes everything. Instead of loading fluids at night, you distribute water intelligently throughout the day. You drink more in the morning and afternoon when your body is active. This helps your system flush waste efficiently. Then, as evening approaches, you gradually reduce intake. Not dehydration, just timing control. One clinical study published in the Journal of Urology found something very important. Men over 60 who followed this hydration pattern experienced up to 41% fewer nighttime urinary symptoms. That's a significant improvement from a simple behavioral shift. Think about that for a moment. No medication change. No procedure. Just smarter hydration timing. So starting tomorrow, apply this simple structure. Drink a full glass of water in the morning. Continue steady sipping through the day. And reduce intake a few hours before bedtime. This one habit alone can improve sleep, reduce urgency, and ease prostate strain over time. And for many men, it becomes the first real step toward regaining control again. Habit number 2, a light walk after meals. Circulation is medicine. You've probably heard that walking is good for the heart, but what most men don't realize is that it is just as important for prostate health. Let me explain why. When you sit for long periods after eating, especially after a heavy meal, your body goes into a low activity state. Blood sugar rises, inflammation markers increase, and circulation slows down in key areas of the body. That includes the pelvic region, where the prostate is located. When blood flow is reduced, the prostate receives less oxygen and fewer nutrients. Over time, this contributes to stiffness, irritation, and worsening urinary symptoms. Now, here is where a simple habit makes a major difference. A 10 to 15-minute walk after meals. Nothing intense. Nothing complicated. Just steady movement. When you walk after eating, your circulation improves almost immediately. Blood flow increases throughout the body. Oxygen delivery improves. And inflammatory activity starts to decrease. For the prostate, this is extremely important because better circulation supports healthier tissue function and reduces irritation in the bladder-prostate system. A study conducted at the University of Sao Paulo followed men over the age of 65. The findings were clear. Men who consistently walked after meals had a 35% lower risk of developing moderate to severe BPH symptoms. That is not a small difference. That is a meaningful shift in long-term prostate health. But beyond the medical data, there is something even more practical here. Think about your daily life. A short walk after dinner is not just exercise. It becomes a moment of freedom. A quiet walk with your partner, a few steps outside your home, or even pacing indoors when the weather is not ideal. It is simple, but it changes how your body functions at night. Better circulation during the day often leads to fewer symptoms at night. Now let's move to something many men find more sensitive, but medically very important. Habit number 3, regular sexual activity. Nature's prostate maintenance system. This is a topic many men avoid discussing, but avoiding it does not change its importance. From a medical perspective, sexual activity plays a direct role in prostate health. Here is why. The prostate produces fluid as part of its normal function. When this fluid is regularly released, the system stays active and balanced. But when it remains stagnant for long periods, cellular waste can accumulate. This increases the risk of inflammation within the gland. Regular ejaculation helps clear this buildup naturally. You can think of it as a biological reset mechanism. Not exaggerated. Not emotional. Simply physiological maintenance. One large study from the Harvard School of Public Health followed more than 10,000 men over 2 decades. The results were significant. Men who reported frequent ejaculation, around 21 times per month or more, showed a 33% lower lifetime risk of prostate cancer. That is a strong protective association, but the benefits go beyond cancer risk alone. Sexual activity also improves pelvic blood flow. It supports hormonal balance, and it reduces stress-related chemical activity in the body. All of these factors contribute to healthier prostate function over time. Now, it is important to approach this with realism. With age, sexual frequency may naturally decrease. That is normal. But what matters medically is not perfection. It is consistency and awareness. If changes occur, or if there are concerns, discussing them with a qualified doctor is always the right step. Because ignoring the issue does not protect your health. Addressing it does. And this is something many men only realize later in life. Prostate health is not only about avoiding disease, it is also about maintaining normal biological function in every stage of aging. So far, we have discussed hydration, movement, and one of the most overlooked biological maintenance processes. In the next part, we will move into 2 equally powerful habits, food and sleep, and how they directly influence long-term prostate protection. Habit number 4, strategic eating, food as preventive medicine. Let's be very clear about something most men underestimate. Every meal you eat is either supporting your prostate health or slowly working against it. There is rarely a neutral option. Now, this is not about strict dieting or extreme restriction. It is about understanding how specific nutrients directly influence prostate function over time. Let's start with one of the most studied compounds in prostate health, lycopene. Lycopene is a natural antioxidant found in red-colored foods like tomatoes, watermelon, and guava. But here is something important. It is more effective when tomatoes are cooked. Cooking increases lycopene absorption in the body. This compound helps reduce oxidative stress inside prostate cells, which is one of the key drivers of long-term tissue damage. In one clinical observation, men who consumed cooked tomato products about twice per week showed up to a 28% lower risk of prostate cancer. That is a strong protective effect from a simple dietary habit. Now let's talk about another essential nutrient, zinc. Zinc plays a major role in hormone regulation and tissue repair within the prostate. Low zinc levels are often linked with poor prostate function and increased inflammation. You can find zinc in foods like pumpkin seeds, nuts, and seafood. When consumed regularly, it helps stabilize prostate activity and supports overall cellular health. Then there is another powerful group of compounds, cruciferous vegetables. Foods like broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower contain a compound called sulforaphane. This compound activates detoxification pathways inside the body. It helps the system remove damaged cells and reduce early inflammatory changes that could lead to long-term problems. Now, let's simplify this into something practical. You don't need complicated meal plans. You need consistency. Add cooked tomatoes or tomato-based sauces a few times a week. Include a handful of pumpkin seeds or nuts as a daily snack. Fill at least half your plate with vegetables, especially green and cruciferous ones. And keep your protein lean: fish, chicken, beans, or legumes. This is not about restriction. It is about support. Supporting the prostate so it can function efficiently for years to come. Now let's move to the final habit. And for many men, this is the most underestimated one. Habit number 5, deep restorative sleep, your nightly repair system. Most men think sleep is just rest. But biologically, sleep is one of the most active recovery phases in the human body, especially for hormonal balance and inflammation control. During deep sleep, the body releases melatonin and growth hormone. These are critical for tissue repair and immune regulation. They help reduce inflammation and support cellular recovery, including in the prostate. When sleep becomes shallow or frequently interrupted, this repair process weakens significantly. Hormone levels become unbalanced. Inflammation increases. And overall, prostate health can gradually decline. A large long-term study involving over 2,400 men found something very important. Men with consistently poor sleep patterns had nearly double the risk of developing aggressive prostate-related conditions. That is a serious correlation. But beyond the data, think about how poor sleep affects daily life. Fatigue, irritability, reduced focus, lower resilience, all of which indirectly affect how the body manages inflammation and recovery. So what actually improves sleep quality in a practical sense? First, your environment matters. A dark, quiet, and cool room supports deeper rest. Second, routine matters. Going to bed and waking up at consistent times trains your internal rhythm. Third, screen exposure matters. Reducing screen use before bed allows melatonin levels to rise naturally. And finally, timing of fluids matters, which connects directly back to habit 1. Avoiding excessive drinking late at night reduces bladder pressure during sleep. This improves uninterrupted rest. And uninterrupted rest is where real recovery happens. Sleep is not optional recovery time. It is a biological necessity for long-term prostate health. Now, when we put everything together so far, a clear pattern emerges. Hydration timing supports bladder control. Walking improves circulation. Sexual activity supports natural cleansing. Nutrition reduces inflammation. Sleep restores hormonal balance. Each habit is simple on its own, but together they create a powerful system of protection. In the next and final part, we will bring everything together into a practical action plan and explain how even men with existing symptoms can still see improvement. Now, let's bring everything together in a way that actually makes sense in real life, not just on paper. Because understanding these habits is one thing, but applying them consistently is where real change happens. So let's simplify everything into a clear structure you can follow without confusion. First, we go back to hydration. Drink smart, not just more. Start your day with a full glass of water. Then continue steady sipping through the morning and afternoon. And as evening approaches, reduce your intake gradually. This is not about dehydration. It is about timing control, because when you stop overloading your bladder at night, you immediately reduce pressure, urgency, and sleep disruption. Next comes movement, a 10 to 15-minute walk after meals. This is not exercise in the traditional sense. It is circulation support. It improves blood flow to the pelvic region. It reduces inflammation signals in the body, and it helps your system process food more efficiently. Even a slow walk after dinner can make a noticeable difference over time. Now let's connect that with internal balance. Regular sexual activity, when possible and appropriate, supports natural prostate function. It helps clear accumulated fluid from the gland. It supports hormonal balance, and it improves pelvic circulation. This is not about frequency targets. It is about maintaining natural biological rhythm. Next is nutrition, which is where many men underestimate their daily impact. Think of food as a long-term signal to your body. Every meal either supports repair or increases inflammation. Cooked tomatoes provide lycopene, which protects prostate cells. Pumpkin seeds and nuts provide zinc, which supports hormone stability. Vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower provide compounds that help the body detox and repair damaged cells. And lean proteins help maintain strength without adding unnecessary inflammatory load. This is not a restrictive diet. It is a protective pattern. Now the final piece, sleep. This is where everything resets. Deep sleep lowers inflammation. It balances hormones, and it allows the body to repair cellular damage, including in the prostate. But sleep only works well when the environment supports it. A dark, quiet, cool room, a consistent bedtime, limited screen exposure before sleep, and reduced fluid intake late in the evening. All of these factors work together. Now, here is the most important point I want you to understand. These habits are not independent. They reinforce each other. For example, better hydration timing improves sleep. Better sleep reduces inflammation. Walking improves circulation, which supports prostate function. Nutrition reduces long-term cellular stress. It becomes a system, not a checklist. And when men follow even a few of these consistently, the results are often noticeable within weeks. Reduced nighttime urination, better urine flow, less urgency, improved sleep quality. But let me address something very important now. Many men ask the same question at this stage. But doctor, what if I already have symptoms? What if I already wake up multiple times at night? What if my flow is weak? What if I feel like things have already progressed too far? Here is the honest answer. It is never too late to improve function. I have personally seen men in their 70s and even 80s experience meaningful improvement after adopting these habits. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily and realistically. Less urgency, more control, better sleep, improved confidence in daily life. Because prostate health is not a fixed condition. It is a dynamic system influenced by daily behavior. That means your choices still matter at every age. Now, I want you to think beyond symptoms. This is not just about avoiding discomfort. It is about preserving independence, being able to travel without anxiety, sleep without interruption, live without constantly planning around a bathroom. That is what these habits protect. Not just health, but freedom. So here is your simple starting point. Do not try to change everything at once. Choose one habit today. Just one. Practice it consistently for 1 week. Then add another. Because small, consistent action is far more powerful than temporary effort. And over time, these small decisions accumulate into real change. Your 60S, 70S, and even 80S do not have to be defined by limitation. They can still be defined by strength, dignity, and control. If you take care of your body consistently, your body continues to take care of you. And that is the real message here. Not fear, not urgency, but responsibility and control. In the final part, I will give you titles, description, and tags, so this video is fully optimized for YouTube. So let's close this conversation with a clear understanding of what truly matters here. Because if you step back for a moment, you'll realize something important. Prostate health after 60 is not decided in a hospital room. It is decided in your daily routine, not by one big decision, but by small, repeated actions. The way you drink water, the way you move after meals, the way you eat, the way you sleep, and how you support your body's natural functions over time. None of these habits are extreme. None of them require special treatment, but together, they create a powerful protective system. Now let's address a thought many men quietly carry. Is it too late for me to change anything? The answer is simple and honest. No, it is not too late, because the body does not work on a fixed timeline of decline. It responds to signals every single day. I have seen men who lived for years with frequent urination, weak flow, and disrupted sleep. Men who believed they just had to accept it. And yet, after introducing these exact habits consistently, they experienced real improvement. Not perfection, but progress, fewer nightly interruptions, better bladder control, improved comfort during the day, and most importantly, a sense of control returning. That last part matters more than people realize. Because prostate issues are not only physical, they slowly affect confidence, travel, sleep, and even emotional well-being. But when symptoms improve, life opens up again. Now, I want you to focus on something very practical. You do not need to master all 5 habits at once. That is not the goal. Start small. Pick one habit today. Just one. For example, if sleep is your biggest issue, start with evening fluid control and screen reduction. If nighttime urination is the problem, focus on hydration timing first. If energy and inflammation feel low, start with walking after meals. Then build gradually. Because consistency always beats intensity. And over time, these habits stop feeling like effort and start becoming automatic. Now, let's bring everything into a final simple truth. Your prostate health is not something you lose suddenly. It is something that changes gradually based on how you live, which also means it can improve gradually based on how you live. That is where your power is. Not in fear, not in guessing, but in daily choices that are fully in your control. So if you take anything from this entire conversation, let it be this. You are not powerless against aging, and you are not stuck with worsening symptoms. You have influence every single day. And the sooner you start using that influence, the more freedom you preserve later. Now, before we end this, here is a complete YouTube package for your video.